Oh my goodness, how did we get so lucky? Welcome to Choice, Change and Action podcast. And if you're listening to us, thank you for listening. But you can actually watch on Spotify now as well. Yes, and we like to be watched. Or you can join us on YouTube as well, because I have three beautiful ladies here from Access Consciousness. And these are three ladies who well, it's not funny that I say ladies, because I say ladies and I say girl, and they've all got a naughty side to them too, which I like, and it's all different. And I asked them to come on here because we wanted to have a conversation about engagement and what it is to engage with people, not just on social media. These guys are not social media experts. We mean old school engagement, okay? Like old school engagement where you actually start to interact with others. So welcome, Emily, Donna, and Julia, and thank you so much for being here. So, Donna, let's start with you. You are a part of the Access Consciousness, quote unquote, call team. Can you just give a little what is that about, and how important is it to have something like a call team for a company and for a business if you want to move forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thanks for having us on, Simone. So Access Consciousness is the business that you probably hear Simone talking about all the time. It's amazing. It's magical. Never check it out because your life might get too great. But as that business, the founder, Gary Douglas, just knew that to grow futures, engagement is required. People have to talk to people to grow futures. And so he's always made it really he's always made sure that Access Consciousness, the business, has a group of people who are calling out and reaching out to clients and just saying hi. And
Stop.
Yeah.
Hang on. That's key. And this is the stuff I want people to get, because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but 4:30 in the afternoon till 7 o'clock, my phone rings and it's a number I don't know. I don't answer it. It's always some cold calling. Do I want solar systems? Do I want this? It's the wine club. At the moment, I've got a wine club calling me at least 3 times a week. And what I started doing was going, look, I'm an alcoholic and you're really stressing me out. You need to stop calling me. Calling, and I'm like, you fucking bastards. It's like, you're still like, you don't give a shit if I'm like, an alcoholic and you're stressing me out. They're still calling. But I want the thing that you just said there, Donna, was really imperative to get is this is not about calling and going, right, I have this class coming up and I have this product and I have this service. You said just calling up to say hi.
Yeah, it's when two people get together and talk or get together with their bodies, new futures are created. You have to actually receive from somebody else. And so when you call somebody and just say hi to them, you actually open the space for them to engage, for them to get with you, to get present. It creates nurturance and presence, and it creates a question. And question is part of the creation of futures too. So don't do it. Don't call people. It's just bad.
I love
and
that.
It's not
and
fun.
also talking about the connecting as well, and because it's so easy for us to not connect. Let's put it that way, just to ignore it. And I just before we started this podcast, I got a friend of mine just pinged me because I was having a pretty hard last couple of days, and I saw her yesterday, and I was just not me, is how I'd like to put it. And she just pinged me today, and she said, "Hey, I'm just checking in to see how you're doing." And I was like, oh man, I was like, dude, that means so much to me that someone's just checking in to see how I'm doing. And I think we do that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know Emily and Julia are both really skilled at being present and just checking in with people. And I've talked to them, and my day changes. So when you talk to somebody, it changes energetics, it changes possibilities, and different doors open. So whatever track you're going down, whatever bubble that you're in, when you talk to someone else, that shifts, and new possibilities, new ways of looking at your life, different perspectives open.
Can I just add, I just want to add one line to that, Donna, because I have I totally relate to what you're saying. And the other thing too that I've noticed is it's almost freaky how much gratitude flows from that person to you into your day. I call I always call one person per day that I don't like really know super well, like in Access or whatever. Like I'm like, I'll call one person because Gary says call 10 and I'm like, I'm not calling 10. I can't, but I can call one. And so I call one random person in Access and then usually in the morning and they stay with me through the whole day, flowing gratitude into my day and into my universe. And I'm like, whoa, that's wild amount of contribution just because I care about them.
It's okay. So there's something I need to get over too. And I'm going to give myself that home play of calling one person a day. And it doesn't have to be an Access, anyone, just one person a day, but actually calling them. Because I noticed yesterday, and I think this works too, and I'd love to get your guys' feedback on this, is Sylvia Puentes, she sent me this video and she's on a horse at Elegar and she's drenched, like it's pouring rain, right? And she's with the cowboys and with these two guests that are there, riding. But the smile on her face was massive, and she's drenched. There's not like, oh, it's raining, it's whatever. And because I had a pretty interesting hard day yesterday. I'm going to say it was a hard day. And I'd sent her a message going, hey, thank you so much. I was like, just looking at the smile on your face in the pouring rain brought me so much joy. And thank you for sending that. But I wanted to thank her, like not just receive it and then have it be that. I wanted to have that. And then there was another woman, Bren, who is a translator for us. And the last time I caught up with her, I was in Peru and there's a bunch of us that went away. There was 5 of us that went away. We nicknamed ourselves the Pisco 5 because there's a cocktail in Peru which is off the charts good, called the Pisco Sour. And everywhere we went, we go 5 Pisco Sours. So we called ourselves the Pisco 5. And I hadn't spoken to her, and she's just been popping in my world the last few days. So instead of just popping in my world and ignoring it, I left her a message and I said, hey, I just, I'm thinking about you. Are you good? Da, 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 like this whole thing. I didn't realize she's been going through this whole thing with her husband and how sick he is and all of this stuff. And I got the energy of, she was like, wow, thank you so much for reaching out to me and this. So I am saying it's the poor excuse way of doing it because it's via voice message, which I think is step number 1. It's not so bad to reach out during that and leaving a message for somebody. But Julia, I love that you just took it one step further. And I'd love you, like, what's your feedback, the 3 of you, on the difference between actually making a phone call and having that interactive conversation than leaving a message?
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different thing. Like I'm here in Bogota, Colombia right now, and I'm going to Spanish immersion school for 3 weeks.
Oh, you're doing it.
I'm here and doing it. Yeah. So, and I'm having a freaking blast. Today was day two out of 15 days at the school. And I'm meeting the most, I mean, I think it takes like kind of a cool person to want to go to a different continent because nobody's South American here. Like they're going to a different continent. They have the space and they want to have an experience and an adventure and learn Spanish. And so everybody's like just super exotic and interesting and eccentric. And I'm having the coolest conversations with all these people. But one of the things I'm noticing is how starved all of them are for interaction. And they're like thrilled to be in this environment where nobody knows anybody else. We're all in a different country. And they're just like, everybody just sits down and is like basically let's have a conversation. Like and I was talking to a girl today who like has been working online for 3 years and it's just killing her. Like she just is starving to have that commerce, that engagement, that interaction. And so like I get that a lot because of the life that I've created, but these people, like this is a big place where they get to interact, and it's so fun to just kind of feel their souls being fed with the engagement. And I'm just like, wow, everybody is starved for this kind of just having a conversation on the phone. And yeah, voice message just to me isn't the same. It's awesome and I'm glad we have them, but I also am like, when somebody sends me a voice message that's more than 3 minutes, I'm like, why didn't you just call me? Like, why? Why do I have to listen to this?
It's called a podcast. Longer than a minute, it's called a podcast, basically.
Totally. Exactly. I'm like, I just want to talk to you. Why do we have to do it like this?
You know, you guys are, I know that we've got I want to bring Emily in a second. It's I just wrote down this interact and engage, and I'm wondering if we actually created something that, you know, we could do it at Elegar or something like that, where it was this interaction engagement, and it's basically like no phones anywhere. And you have to, like, I went on a boat the other day with my family, my brother and his wife and kids, and a guy that I went to school with, I mean, not school with, I lived with him in London 35 years ago, and his wife and his kids. And she had this bag. We didn't mean to, but it was like trying to look after the phone. And I went, this is so funny. It's like a conference, phones in, you know, and your phones and guns in, because everyone just threw their phones in there because we didn't want to lose them. But what ended up occurring was this interaction that was really different because everyone didn't have their phones.
That's beautiful. I know that I'm starving for that. Like sometimes when I like with family members, I don't know if they're talking to me, if they're leaving a voice message, like they're not paying attention.
Like, yeah, what's that? Yeah. So what's that? What's that, Julia? Yeah. And I'm like,
come on. Like, yes, we can do that sometimes, but like that can't be our lives. We have to change this. Yeah. So.
Love it. Emily, you're wonderfully quiet.
I know.
I can feel you bursting with information that you want to talk about too, or stories.
I am. Well, I think it's funny that we've normalized ignoring people. It's such a subtle way of like, you always have an out. You always do. And it's sometimes we don't, but it is normalized. And sorry, I thought I turned off the thing, but it won't go away. This thing won't be silenced. But it's funny because what you guys are just talking about, have you seen Ted Lasso? Have you guys seen that TV show?
Yeah.
It's produced by Apple, so they advertise the iPhone a lot. But there's this one episode where they travel to Amsterdam, and one of the main characters falls in the river, and she loses her phone, and then she meets this lovely stranger, and they share a beautiful evening together that is so outside of the norm, anything she could have predicted or planned. That creates a future, and it's all because she wasn't able to escape into her normal coping mechanisms. So it's a beautiful thing. And I was going to say the other thing I wanted to weave in was we talk about engagement as if it's like an access, like novelty tool, like it's never been, it's not anywhere else. But I did AA for a few years, Alcoholics Anonymous, which is funny because you brought up, pretending to be an alcoholic, Simone.
Right.
And one of the first things they get people to do is to call people. Because when you're in addiction, you're so isolated and you're so ashamed of who you are. That's where you're not reaching out to see where you're similar with people and where you also have your differences. But that's also one of the first things they get people to do is pick up the phone and call someone. And it takes so much courage to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to give some home play during this podcast. I don't think I've ever given home play on podcasts, but I think the first one I'm going to give, I'm giving this first one, but it's from what you've been mentioning is, what if you called one person a day? Like, who would that be? And even just indulge in the energy. And it's like, as you just stated, Emily, it's like, it does take courage. And for me, the thing that comes up for me is, such an asshole, but like the time.
Yeah.
I think I've decided I'd rather spend 30 minutes on my own than 30 minutes talking to someone.
Well, and a lot of people, Simone, have in business have this idea, I think, that they can reach a lot more. It's like, why would I spend time calling one person when I could do a live and reach 30,000 people or whatever my following is, which it's true. It's not that one is greater than the other. But Gary Douglas said recently that he wanted everyone to get that you're a success if you change one person's life. And oftentimes I see people working for social media and that it's not working for them. It's moving them around. They're having to adjust their life to learn how to they're always kind of chasing it rather than it bringing something to them. And I know for me, when I'm having a hard day or I'm feeling like a failure or I'm feeling like Emily said, really disconnected or isolated, that if I can call one person and be with them, with whatever is going on, it gives me a sense of that connection. It gives me a sense of success. It reminds me that I can be a contribution, because I think what the world kind of lacks sometimes is the true sense of contribution, that true gifting and receiving. Like when you're sending stuff out into a Facebook, you don't necessarily, like, you might get likes, but it's not necessarily the same feedback. I recently saw that there's a new course that's been developed that's a digital detox. And like, how many people do you know that are seeking a digital detox? They're going, but then they're even more isolated. They don't necessarily know where to go from there. And I would love to see the phone call be a place, that people could start to have those connections. It's very uncomfortable. Like, people don't necessarily know how to do it anymore. A lot of people have lost the talent or skill for it. And I would say, like, just start, be uncomfortable. That's the gift of presence, is if you call somebody and you just don't even know what you're going to say, you don't have anything planned or prepped, and you just go, hi, I'm calling you right now. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but hi. Do you want to hang up? We can do that too. Like, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
I want to do, and if you guys have any home play you want to add in, I need to do a second one, is talk to a stranger, because I'm actually way better at that. Like, even yesterday in the supermarket, I wanted to go into this fridge, right? And this guy was standing there in front of the fridge, and he goes, "Oh, sorry." He goes, "Do you know what you want?" And then he saw what he wanted, so he went in, and then I went in. But I had all this stuff on my hand, so I sort of like opened a thing. I was shutting it with my ass, and at the same time I was shutting it with my ass, he went to open it. So his hand just went straight on my bum. It was so funny. We both just looked at each other and just cracked up laughing. We were just like, okay, that happened, But it was, I know I enjoyed it. And I know he enjoyed it, And just this engagement.
I'm enjoying it.
Touching my ass, like in the supermarket.
Everybody loves a hand on the bum. Come on.
Exactly. No, well, actually, we should, whatever, But it was, the engagement was funny. So I'm going to say the second home play is talk to a stranger. Like, whether it is the person at the supermarket or it's someone you're parking your car next to and you're getting out of the same day, at the same time or something like that. And come up with some questions that are different, because I see so many people they talk about the weather. And I think if it's extremely hot or extremely cold, you have full permission to talk about the weather. Okay. That's my rule. And, or even at a party or something like that, it's like what do you do, rather than what's the most fun thing you've done this year? Or what are you excited about? Or, like whatever, I don't know if you guys have some questions, but what is that? And I want to talk about one more thing, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. I also heard, it was on a podcast or something a while ago, and this guy was saying how in 7 minutes, how you can change somebody's whole like their whole day, right? And how it is. And him and his mate have got this thing where if they need something, they go, "Hey, have you got 7 minutes?" I was like, that is like, what if we started this trend of, have you got 7 minutes? Because 7 minutes isn't too long.
I love that.
I love that too. And we've done with the Global Engagers, with Access, we have done calling parties where we've connected, like, different people in different regions around the world have collected up people in that region and spent an hour, like, they'll get on Zoom and everybody turns their cameras off and mutes themselves, or sometimes leaves the camera on, and they just start calling people. And you can do it so many different ways. Sorry, my cat my neighbor's cat is she's engaging for sure. But you can you can play roulette on your phone and just go through, like, just scroll until you find somebody that you want to call. You can go through the businesses in your area and find people that have businesses that you're interested. There's so many different ways to play with that.
And play with it. Valentine's Day, love it or hate it? Do you use it to judge you or your partner? What if you could spend Valentine's Day with me? What if this year you chose something different? So I'm doing a class on Valentine's Day, SimoneMilasas.com/RDD intro. Come and play. Come and choose something different this year for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is the best interaction that you've ever had when you engage, just randomly? Any of you go. best interaction and why?
I don't know if it's the best, but it's one that really stands out. Is I was calling people for Gary's telecalls to welcome them to the calls. And I called this lady in Indonesia, and we just got to talking, and she was like, yeah, we don't have a lot of classes going here. Like, I wish we had more facilitators here. And I was like, I'd love to come. So I went, and it just ended up being, it was like the biggest class of my year. It changed my reality. It changed their realities. Like I was calling because I wanted to welcome her to Gary's call, but like this was something she needed or like they were looking for. And I was like, I could do this. And then it's just that like, and I've been to Indonesia again, and I'm going again in July. And like, it's just like, it's a huge part of my life. That's such a gift from one phone call. I even bought my big chandelier there. Like I wouldn't have my chandelier if I didn't make that one phone call.
Well, I was going to say two things. One, none of that's linear. Like you couldn't have worked that out. If you went, right, this year I'm putting this into practice or I'm asking for this, there's nothing linear about that. And then number two is, why the fuck aren't you coming to Australia if you're going to Indonesia? It's just around. It's just like, boop. It's so close. So close. Just putting that in your wall.
Love it.
You come and do a 3-day body class or something.
Okay. I will freaking come. I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to I love Australia. Yeah, but it was one phone call, and I had made like 10 other phone calls of people who hung up that day. Like they didn't hang up on me. They didn't answer their phones. But maybe she was like the 11th person and she answered her phone. And it was like, whoa. And then that's created other possibilities. And that created you just inviting me to come to a 3-day body class in Australia. And that will create something else. And then that will create something else after that.
Exactly.
And it's
possibilities. Yeah.
And I love what Donna said about like people are chasing social media and trying to make sure that they're posting enough stories to get high engagement and this and that. And if we really did spend all the energy that we spent scrolling social media and posting on social media, just making phone calls, I mean, our businesses would totally grow bigger. And not just your business is your life, as I learned in the great book called Joy of Business like 14 years ago. And it's like even if you don't have a business and you work doing something else, or I don't know, you just don't consider you have a business, your life is your business, and it enriches everything. Just starts to weave together with magic when you're really, it's not like you're not engaged, you're gifting. When you phone somebody, you're gifting to them, and then you will receive. A phone call is a gift, and when you gift, you receive. So
you're coming up with so many different names that I could call this podcast. Donna, Emily, what's one of your best calls that you've ever made and why?
I'll jump in. Thank you, Emily. Well, I just want to say on that topic of social media, I'm the worst. Arthur Wood, if anybody knows Arthur, he's the actual lead of the Global Engagers with Access, and he's amazing. And he looked at my social media a couple weeks ago, and even he was like, you need to update. It's so bad. My social media is terrible. I used to be able to do it, and I've lost the ability now. So maybe I need to hire someone, but it's just, but I, like Julia said, I would prefer to call people. It's so much easier. Even like texting, I'm like, it takes me more energy actually to sustain a text conversation. Like some people will rope you into it. And then it's like every 2 minutes, you're like stuck. I'm like, if we just talked on the phone, I could give you the energy you're seeking. We could say the words, we could gift and receive, 'tis as good to gift as it is to receive. It's the simultaneity of it. But my favorite story that just pops up recently is really fun. I was at the airport on my way to Houston for a class recently, and I was had to grab a burger, grab something to eat. And at the restaurant, there was one gentleman who was about my age that was not on his phone. He was the only, everybody else was on their computer or on their phone. And I went, he's kind of cute. Also, he's not on his phone. I might actually be able to talk to him. And we stirred up this great conversation and we exchanged numbers and we ended up making out at some point. And what my favorite part of this story.
Yeah, girl!
That's such a success. That's such a success.
It's such a success, but it was so delightful that he was actually desiring to engage. And the best part of the story is there was a kid around, and when I say kid, it was probably my children's age. Like I would say a 20-something year old who was so weirded out by us actually talking to each other, just didn't even know what to do. Was like, what is this, like old people flirting? Like, what aren't they supposed to like let swipe, or like I could just read his mind the whole time. Was so to me it was an added bonus of like showing the gift, like this is not something that has to die out. And I just have to say quickly, I heard that AI is now blocking phone calls. Like they're basically, an AI in some countries will go through the incoming calls and then decide which ones they send to you or not. And that's not the world I want to see. I want to be able to call somebody whenever I want. And so that's part of why I'm like really kind of passionate about this, is like, I want a world where I can just talk to somebody if I feel like it, not where I have to go through something. So thanks for waiting, Emily.
Someone sent me, was it one of you guys? I think Donna, it was you. Did you send me the video of the two young guys? It was brilliant. And they just were putting in any random number, right, into the phone. I mean, the amount of people like this phone number is not connected. But when they eventually found someone and they were basically like, hey, you don't know us, we don't know you, but can we come hang out? And they flew to another city to hang out with these people and spent like 3 days hanging out and doing all this. And it was like an experiment to see, would people say yes or would they say no? And it was like absolutely brilliant. It was great.
Yeah, and that's called Yes Theory. And I highly recommend, because they do engaging things. The phone call was the one, but they do all kinds of stuff that's about meeting random strangers and seeing if they can create futures and engagement and get people together in various ways. They're amazing.
Wow.
Yes. If you send me the thing again, we'll put it in the show notes again.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Too. Emily, what's your best, funniest, like greatest story about engaging?
Okay. So this actually just happened the other day. I was going over to a friend's house to do to swap body processes. And she was on the phone with her son. So I went and got a snack. And I was a little bit late going to her place. So I just hung out in she has like a concierge. So there's a concierge person. The mailman had just come. I had met him previously and he had funny hats. And then the guy who parks the car for valet was there. And I was just shooting the shit with them and sharing my snacks with them and hanging out until she was ready for me. And then walks in someone I know from Houston who actually works, I think he works with like the police department, the constable. It's someone that I actually was introduced to by Gary, like a friend of a friend. And then I was at an art gallery and I met, but it was this moment of like, had I not been there for the few minutes we wouldn't have run into each other. And he invited me to a party at the beginning of next month, which is a fundraiser for the constable. And he showed me a video of a piano that his friend just bought, which was a piano that I had seen at a Steinway & Sons like piano showing. Like it was all of these, we haven't seen each other for years. And I met him, out in the wild. But I think that's the beauty of all of this, is like our day takes certain turns. Like had my friend not needed to talk to her son, I wouldn't have been delayed in coming to see her. And he actually invited both of us to the party. So both of us wouldn't have been invited to the party. And he's, this guy's kind of cool. So every time I go to her place, I'm like, I wonder if I'll see him. And she's like, I wonder if I'll see him. And here we are letting go of control. And he walks in the door and, lo and behold, there's this amazing event we get to go to.
But if you paint a different picture, Emily, your friend could have been on the phone and and then you pick up your phone and you've got your head down and you're just on the phone. Do you know what I mean? Like scrolling and looking at something. Whereas you didn't. You actually chose to engage.
Unless I'm like slightly annoyed by someone and trying to like show them that, I have the sickness of fully being interested by people, no matter how annoying they are or whatever, how disconnected they are. I'm genuinely interested in learning someone's name and learning like how they see the world. Because that's like, for example, the valet guy, his name is Bang Bang. Like, you can't write that shit. Like, that's just the coolest, like, you know. And he said yes to me offering him a pickle chip. And within 2 minutes of talking to the mailman, we had constructed a Hollywood movie where he could play a serial killer. Like, that's how quickly the conversation progressed. And Denzel Washington also was a mailman, maybe. So it's just, you know, how do you plan that? You can't. You just got to, you know, keep saying yes.
You know, I love the thing you mentioned about snacks too. I remember when I was in London years ago, and I was on the tube station waiting for the tube. And if any of you guys have been to London or anyone listening, it's like nobody friggin' talks on the tube there, right? It's like, and it's packed. And I was waiting for the tube, and I had some juicy fruit gum. And I was like putting it in my mouth and eating it. And this guy walks past and he goes, juicy fruit. And I looked at it, laughed, and I was like, do you want some? And he was like, yeah. And then he took some, and then we started talking. But again, like what you were talking about, Donna, the people around us were so uncomfortable that we started just engaging over juicy fruit, you know. And then when I started talking too, he went, you're Australian. And I went, yeah. And he went, of course you are. He said, anyone English wouldn't have answered me and wouldn't have said anything, because that's not what you do at the tube station in London. But I always get, like, if I'm in a car for a long time or, you know, driver and stuff like that, and you have snacks, I love it when I offer a snack and someone says yes. There is an engagement when they're just like, yeah, I'll have one of those, or I'll have some of that. You know, it's that energy of that interaction. And how many times do you not offer a snack because you think you shouldn't, because you think they're going to say no, and you're already, I think one of you mentioned, like, don't have the conversation before you have it. It's like you've already determined, like you've predetermined how somebody's going to react, rather than allowing them to choose what they choose in the moment.
Can I tell one more quick story? I just thought of this. When my kids were young, maybe they were maybe 10 and 11, we used to go to this bluegrass festival in the mountains every year. And at this one particular... At one in particular, I just walked up to, there was a guy like hanging on a beam. Everybody, you know, it's a bluegrass festival. Everybody's kind of drinking and partying and pretty relaxed and dancing. And he was like hanging on a beam, and I just walked beeline for him and started tickling him. And my kids still remember this moment, and they were so horrified by my level of play and joy and just walking up to a stranger. And it's now that they're a little bit older, they have appreciation for that, like willingness to just play with people. Like, oh, I see that your armpits are out. You know.
That's very engaging. Tickling a stranger is the epitome, is the pinnacle of engagement. We've just reached the top.
Don't play.
Well, she also made out with a stranger in the airport, so you know, I think Donna's taken it to a new level.
That's just the beginning.
The goal is to outcreate that.
That's just the beginning of what you can do at an airport. But that would be my home play for everybody. See if you can tickle a stranger and not get in trouble.
Okay, so you just brought up a story that I thought of. This is years ago. I was at a bar, and there was a football match on and everything, and you know, I'd had quite a few drinks, and this guy was walking past, and he had, you know, like 4 or 6 drinks in his hand, like he had a lot of drinks. And I just jokingly put my foot out, like to, you know, trip him up. And he sort of like tripped up a little bit and stumbled, and he looked at me and he went, what did you do that for? And I went, and I literally looked at him and I went, I have no idea. And then he took his drinks to his friend and then came over, and we ended up going home that night together, and he ended up being my boyfriend for like almost a year. And but to that moment where I was like, he's like, why'd you trip me over? And I went, I have no idea. But it was just this moment that I went, yeah, I'm going to trip this guy over. And I ended up seeing him. He was a policeman as well. He was a detective.
So that just tied all our entire conversation into like a perfect bow. I mean,
but you got him to fall in love, Simone.
I did, and I learned that night what a blue taxi is, because it was a football match. We couldn't get a taxi. And then he's like, let's get a blue one. And I'm like, what's a blue taxi? Like, we've had quite a few drinks, right? And so he makes a call. And the next thing, a police car comes driving around. He goes, get in. And I'm like, we're getting in a police car. And he's like, yeah, this is the blue taxi. And so the police drove us home. And I was like, okay. So that's a thing.
Simone, that's so great. First of all, I thought a blue taxi was going to be something dirty that I didn't know what it meant. But also, like, just like Emily said, these are the things that people miss out on. When you're on your phone, it's such a predictable, it's such a controllable thing. You can control what comes in and what goes out. You're in charge of your feed. And when you step out of that, it's like Alice down the rabbit hole. You could fall in love. You could go home in a blue taxi. You could make out with a stranger at the airport. You could meet a constable and go to like a fundraiser. There's so many possibilities. But no, if you're watching this, I'm sure you don't want a life that fun.
But if you're watching this, you can see Emily is busting a gut to tell her.
I just got so excited because I realized that this is the guy, someone that I'm seeing right now. You know how there's dating apps and you text each other. There's an option to call into FaceTime. I just realized he was the only person that called me. And we've known each other for like 6 or 7 months. And when he called me, I didn't pick up because I was like, this must have been a butt dial. Like, that's the kind of world we live in. Is someone calls you and you go, is that a mistake? And he goes, no, I meant to. And I was still suspicious. I was like, why is this guy? Who is this guy? Why would he call me? Huh?
Yeah. Wow.
And now he's one of the most precious people in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at us go. Love is in the air. We're engaging. Friendship is in the air. Making out at airports is in the air. It's like all of it and more.
And then it might lead to actual engagement. You just never know.
Totally.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So any other like fun stories, surprising stories, horrifying stories that you guys have before we finish up today about engagement?
Yeah, I just wanted to say right now we're living in a world where a lot of people are counting their ones and their fives. Like, there's a lot of computation with the sort of the financial reality that's going on right now. And so for me, taking an example like a cup of coffee in the morning, I really enjoy drinking coffee. And I think a lot of people look at their financial reality and is like, okay, I'll save $10 by making my coffee at home. For me, one of the best parts of my day is going to my local coffee shop and saying hi to everyone there, meeting a new dog, having someone say, hi, Emily, how are you today? And seeing how they are on this different day and like having a sense of home in the place where I live on the planet. Something as simple as that is worth so much more than $10 in tip for me.
I love that. Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there's literally a book I read in the 9th grade called The Automatic Millionaire. And he's like, if you skip your coffee every day, within 30 years, you'll have $1 million.
But you'll have no friends and met no new dogs.
You'll have nothing going on. You'll be all alone. But I think yours is much more valuable, Emily. I like your version. I'm going with that.
And I'll have $1 million in 30 years. Let's not have those two be separate.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, it's like I live across the road from the beach, right? And a lot of people, take their dogs out at the beach. I've practiced it's really interesting because not taking your phone is interesting because I also like to listen to classes, or I like to listen to books on Audible, etc. Or I also like taking photos. So I really have to use myself to go, okay, or I get ideas when I go to the beach and I get an idea and I start and I leave myself a message. But taking my phone as an instrument that can do that, but nothing else, And then as you're walking on the beach, it's like literally engaging and saying hi to the dogs and saying hi to the people, etc. It's like I like your coffee. It's like I love when you're going hiking or something and you literally say hello to somebody and acknowledge something and whatever. So more of that, please. Like more of that.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. I've with Instagram and Facebook, because it's very easy to scroll. Like, I've really trained a muscle where I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this like maybe I only follow art and cooking on Instagram. I don't follow anything
Mine's
else.
horses and cooking.
Oh, I love it. So it's like sometimes I will actively scroll because I do enjoy to see the pictures, but now a lot of it's made out of AI. So I'm like, I don't even think I want to scroll anymore. But it's really cool because it's like I'm like I have a really active, strong muscle of going, oh, I'm scrolling, done. And like, just like that's not what I want to choose right now. So, but I also am like, I want like a second device to listen to Access and make notes or something. Like I'm like, what are these other creative things that we could do? Like I'm like, I don't want any pings to come. I just want to like be able to use it as like an MP3. Remember like MP3s? Like
yes.
So I'm like, maybe I'm gonna get a second
iPod thing. It's like maybe bring back the iPod. Yeah.
We need to bring back the iPod.
Don't bring back the Walkman. That was hell, like with your CDs and your but the iPod could work. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Because you go and look at your phone, like I go, oh, the weather, is it going to rain? And then you look and you go, oh, okay, Sarah just texted me. Okay, Cheyenne said that, and it starts. So it is really like using that active muscle to go, okay, no, I'm actually pretty good at not creating my day by my phone. I learned that a long time ago. And in Australia, it's interesting because you wake up, and America and Europe are still awake. So you can perceive the energy of, are you awake yet? Are you awake yet? And maybe there's meetings, but actually taking that moment to just be with myself. I actually try and put my feet on the ground, like out in the backyard on the grass, or just even, say hello to my coconut trees or my banana trees or my blueberries or something like that. Like just be with the earth is one of the first things that I usually attempt to do. It's very easy to do in Elugar. That's one of my most fun things. You wake up to the sound of the howler monkeys or the toucans and you're like, yeah, this is amazing.
Totally.
Okay, you guys are amazing. You rock. I actually would like to see what we can create in the future or something. I'd like to do something really random and different, like of interacting, engaging in a different way. Maybe we could do it at Elugar or something like that, but just play with something different. So let's ponder what that could be like. But is there anything else you guys want to, any home play you want to leave the listeners with? Anything else you want to say before we jump off?
No, I love the home play of just calling one person per day. I think that's a big mountain for a lot of us to climb in today's day and age.
Calling one person a day and also talk to a stranger.
And talk to a stranger. Oh my God. Tickle a stranger, make out with a stranger, trip a stranger.
Yep. So we've got call one person a day, talk to a stranger, tickle a stranger, make out with a stranger.
This is we'll call it a day. It's not hashtag not stranger danger or something about stranger danger. It's like, the danger out of the stranger.
Be aware. Be aware.
Be as strange as you are, call somebody,
I like that. Yes. Yeah. Be as strange as you are and call somebody. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simone, just thank you so much for having us on this podcast. I'm excited to see what awareness I know you have a pretty big reach. I'm excited to see what this creates in the world in terms of just giving people a different perspective, another thing that they can play with and add to their business, their repertoire, their life. And just thanks for seeing a value in it, because a lot of people don't. And I personally am really grateful for that.
I just had an idea, and thank you. I just had an idea. Relationships Done Different Certified Facilitator Training is in May. We've got advanced body class at Elugar and the RDDCF training. You know what I want to do? Either in the afternoons or literally the day after class is have a full day where we literally don't have phones. But you know what we could do? We could do things like horse riding, be with horses, but also, the restaurant. So you're sitting down, like there's 3 or 4 people at a table and you spend 10 minutes. Learn something about that person that you don't know about, and then switch.
Like speed dating? I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry, but kind of like speed dating without a phone?
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, even if I sat with you 3, what are 3 things, what's something about you 3 that I don't actually know about? Ask a question that gets that, and then we switch tables, but there's absolutely no phones to be seen anywhere, and it's total engagement.
Oh my God, that like excites me to a degree. Yeah. It's so thrilling.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So by the time this goes up, hopefully we'll have that on the website. So go team Koi, get to work. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I adore all three of you. And truly, thank you for being on here. It's like you are a gift. So you are as strange as you be. So call a stranger. Thanks, everybody.